Hi guys, FootGBL here brings you more of this everlasting marathon of finishing the game. We're going to Liz Island and I will skip towards that right away. Well, almost. Any minute now. And there. You must forgive me, but I'm a little exhausted because this upcoming dungeon is ridiculous. I spent about an hour alone trying to find out where the key is. Not to mention the very difficult boss battle to show the tedious battles we have to go through in order to complete it, and whatnot. So forgive me if I come off as being a little off than what I'm usually am. The first thing is to grind until you're level 50. At first I was level 51, but I screwed up my save file, so I didn't want to bother with level 51. Now, making sure where to go, you don't have to go through here, but instead you go up here. Now both the key as well as the door to the boss room is on the same floor, B2. But of course we have to get there first, and this is the first set of stairs. Then we're down here. Now we need to find the next set of stairs, which we find here. Now the next thing is finding the key. Of course that's not simple, because we have to go through a few mandatory battles. Gaosboya was called Ghosboar. I hate it. Armory was called Armaru. It's okay and it's helpful, especially against Faikke. Faikke was originally called Firekokko. I hate it. And then there's Larjias. It was originally called Raygirth. It has its uses through different battles, especially against these sky type monsters, and also because it deals a ton of damage. The main reason why I hate this dungeon is it's the absolute worst to grind in. Because Raygirth shows up more than half the time, and even then killing the other monsters, you'll only barely make it anyways. So it's a very tough one to go through. It took me several hours. Now, the next thing about this is the boss battle. My oh my, is it tough. And there are more to come. I guess I can say on a positive note that the next one is a bit more forgiving, but the dungeon is long as hell. So, be prepared for that though. As we're constantly trying to kill off our enemy here, we have finally managed that and can now move on. I figured here that Ghosboar would be a good ally. I'm wrong. Oh, how wrong I am. But you head up here and don't go down there, it's a dead end. Unless you really want a chance at those gems, even though you don't need it. I couldn't find a name for Warutah, and I really don't care, so that's his name. Even though that's probably wrong. What you can use to your advantage is that Crypto Burn is super effective against it. So in that case, we have a decent enough chance. However, if you don't get a good damage range, you need at least level 51 in order to one-hit kill it. That's the perk I get for not staying persistent. But I had to be persistent to sit here for several hours trying to get through this. So I don't think anyone is in any position to judge. Now my original intention is to evolve Armory into a true Denjuu, and it is 2 evolutions away from doing so. what it'll allow me to do is use the P card to get a very specific kind of evolution item that I'll need eventually. Not that it will make much of a difference later on, but it could come useful. Or at least, it's an experimental strategy I would like to see how can it basically do. So, taking down this final guy. And we only have one more battle for the key. Of course we're not done with battles, but for a short while we are. So you head down here, go down there, and another asshole is blocking you. Again. Stone was originally called Zudoon. He sucks. He sucks ass from a straw. Now here you will see just how useless Gaosboya really is to me. He's not necessarily like that to you if you might end up getting him, but I just got unlucky here. And then there's Heriops, originally dubbed Heliopsis, sorry. And you remember Meta not being that big of a challenge. What annoys me a bit here is that I wasn't able to recruit him. Basically, you could have made quite the changes for the final fight here. But I made it through either way, with a lot of hatred. But whatever. Gargoyle was another move I wanted to use. Sadly, the only monster I had which had it was, well, too much of a fighter, so I rarely got the chance to use it, and eventually I would die either way, so there's been a lot of fuck-ups before I got what you're seeing here. And trust me, you do not want to see the other things. Had that been the case, you would have been forced to sit here for about 2 hours at least. And I'm almost willing to bet that none of you would ever want to do that. So finally taking him down, and we can now claim the key for ourselves. Thanks to Ghosboar for not doing a damn shit. So now that we have the key, we just need to find our way to the boss door. Of course, getting there is not so simple. It has to be a freaking maze. Luckily you have me to show you the way, if that's even being lucky. Barbarwur is, or was originally called Papaver. I was kind of ecstatic to see that it showed up because it has the absolute max base stat in HP, and at the same time it has pretty good strength as well. So I was kind of hoping that I would be able to recruit it, and I figured it could be useful for the boss battle. Of course, if it's played right, it can be. However, he also decided to ignore my orders, so not that useful. There's two monsters that has the max stat in HP. One being, well, the one you just saw, and the other one being the absolute final boss in this game. And guess who the boss here is? Well, it's not him, it's a pre-evolution to the final boss. Furthermore than that, they have a lot of defense. Not just normal defense, but Denma defense as well. So you're pretty much dealing little to no damage. So I had to figure out a way around that, which I did. And you will see how, but it's very luck dependent. And there's not much room to fuck up either. Now I could have played it smarter than I did, but it ended up being what it is because I considered it a safe strat. But I'm starting to doubt that it actually was. So if anyone else has figured out a better strategy for the power version, feel free to do so. Like, show me how it's done. Now, there's not a lot for these battles that can be said. But I can tell you Stella here will be a very big, or it will have a very big influence on the final boss battle here. Yeah, I'm very exhausted from all of this. I shouldn't even be doing this, but I plan on doing this, then showering, getting something to eat, and then hopefully then I can start planning on my laboratory exercises. So by the time you're seeing this, if you ever watch it, I haven't slept in 24 hours. Like, I'm hell-bent on getting this done. I'm not sure whatever drives me when I just want to finish a game. It's not because I don't enjoy it, but for some reason I just feel, well, I want to end it, so I'll do so. It's not a good thing to feel, but it happens. But it screws up your everyday rhythm. Whenever you're unable to attack, you should just focus on doing other things rather than attack and fail. Or at least in the case of Crypto Burn, you're able to increase your attack and hopefully get a one-hit kill. Now, I made a mistake by making Papaver do a Denma attack. Its speed is so low it would never be able to get it out before everyone else would have killed it off anyways. And had it not even been the case, well, something else might have happened and it wouldn't have worked out either way. And there you go. Unluckily though, we're not done with battles yet. It's foggy outside at the moment, even though it's a little, well, lighter than it used to be when I started recording. But whatever. Now for this next one, there's not a whole lot to say. Cameran can still be one-hit KO'd by your Crypto Burn, however it requires a few extra levels. Levels I have no interest in getting. I will have to grind eventually because these dungeons are getting harder and harder. I think I will have to spend an hour or so grinding just to make sure that I have exactly what I want. But even that I'm not so sure yet. I shouldn't even be talking about that because you won't be seeing it anyways, so what does it matter? Now, if you're starting to wonder why are you lowering Crypto Burn's health so much, simply because his health doesn't matter. As long as you have other monsters that win the battle, it really doesn't matter. He'll just start regenerating after the battle. Of course it doesn't regenerate that fast, but it works out, so no big problem there. With another one dead, we can start moving on again. And making sure I don't get lost, but we have another battle here. Pretty much any battle, if I'm not mistaken, can't be skipped. But I happen to, well, except for one, but I happen to be very unlucky as well. And now you're staring at my nightmare. Yeah. 3 Firekokkos. They have always screwed up everything for me. It couldn't get any worse, or at least I don't think so. However, you will see some sheer amount of luck that actually finishes this battle earlier than it normally would. And of course, using Armaru, he's super effective against the Firekokkos, so that's a big reason why you want it, basically. I also expected Papaver to be super effective, but I turned out to be wrong. Luckily for me, he gets a critical hit and destroys one of them on his own. Unlucky for me, the last one decides to play coward and fly away. So now I have to spend turns doing different things. Now I was lucky here that he failed. I, however, made a mistake here. It's mostly because I'm tired, or so I'm guessing. But I chose to defend instead of attacking, mistakenly thinking it was still flying. And guess what happens next? It chooses to fly. Again. So now it spends even more unnecessary time. Even though you have full health, you can still use moves like Cure. Doesn't serve any purpose, but... well, doesn't really show that they have cared a lot for this game. Or at least I think they did, but they haven't been clear with the... I don't know. Either way, wait until we heal up a bit here and then move on. Moving all the way up here, we'll find a set of stairs. We'll move through a whole bunch of stairs now. Skipping one battle. Hurry all the way down here, go up here. Now all those ladders lead to the same spot, so don't bother. And now it is time for my big screw up. I started running. And therefore he noticed me. Fuck that. Warta was originally called Warutah. It sucks. A lot. And Hitodei was called Hitodeight. It also sucks. What else do you wanna know? I hope not a whole lot. However, if you're unlucky with your damage range, your crypto burn will not be able to one-hit knock out the Warutah. And that's basically what happens to me. Aside from having an attack called the End, it sure does deal a lot of little damage. And it's left with 1 freaking HP. Now I don't know what drove me to destroy it, since it's not really a threat to me. But I guess something just slipped my mind or something. And we get a lucky critical hit again. Now I'm not complaining, I'll welcome all of them. Okay, we're 1 mandatory battle away from our boss battle. Our ridiculously difficult boss battle, I might add. So you take the right turn, move down here, and there's nothing we can do about this. But I figured since I'd spent so much time, I might as well use my save strat from earlier. I've had many run-throughs of this trying to look for the key, and therefore I was also able to figure out a few strats. But at the same time I decided to use a few experimental strats that ended up taking more time than necessary. How dumb of me. Larjias is super effective against Warutah, so you can use that. Crypto Burn is super effective against Hitodeight. Larjias kills Warutah's ass in a critical hit, dealing over 200 points of damage. Faikke tries to save it all, but it's screwed. Because here comes Armaru with another critical hit. So that ended up being probably the shortest battle throughout all of this. And both Cryptoburn and Armaru gained a level. And now Armaru will evolve. It evolves into Uniarma, only originally called Uniarma. It only needs one more level actually to evolve into a true Denjuu, but of course I will do that off screen. Now, there's a lot of finicky and luck with this, so I'll try to explain it the best that I can. But we're wondering what our dear Sanarba is doing, and he wants us to let our monster be friends with him in the future because he wants to study the birthplace of all electric monsters, completely ignoring the fact that the life of tree actually suggests that, but who even gives a damn? It seems force, like that force will speak more than words. Chap is the pre-evolution to Doomsday and was originally called Yarrow. It has the highest max stats, or the highest stats overall of a number of 917. So I'll try to explain this the best way I can. Yarrow will always have the first attack. You either wanted to miss that attack or not attack at all. If you're using Cryptoburn, you wanted to use Diverge 4 times. What this will do is allow you to deal at least 20 points of damage during each attack. Shellstarer will have to use Dust whenever possible. Dust basically works the way that it skips Yarrow's attacks whenever it's its turn. So you can basically lock it in a rhythm where it will not be able to attack. Eventually the speed roll will be different, and so it will get an attack in eventually. But you will be able to get a lot of moves in before that. Branika was originally called Burenica. It has one function, to heal, if it's ever necessary, that is. Basically Resume works like this. It can heal any monster in your party, so it's not itself, but it can also heal Cryptoburn or Shellstarer if necessary. The first time I tested out this strat, it was very necessary for me to use, but I'd say this turned out a little more fluent than the first one. I think it came from the fact that I used Diverge 4 times. But you don't, as you're seeing here, I'm being very unlucky by not hitting at all. And here comes the kill, and it failed. But this basically goes to show you don't need perfect luck. You can get somewhat unlucky, but get completely horrible luck and it's all over, and you have to restart it. So that's the third Diverge. I could basically deal 20 points of damage now, but the damage range would be stuck between 22 and 18. If I decided to use another Diverge, it would be between 20 and 24, perhaps even higher. I haven't calculated that. So this basically gets the final Diverge off. Dust will continuously keep him incapable of any action. However, Dust does not stack. So if Shellstarer gets his turn before Dust's effect wears off, just attack. Because Shellstarer's attack is super effective, while it might only deal 8 or 16 damage. Well, it may most likely deal less than 10 damage. However, since Dust does not stack, you might as well deal the amount of damage you now can. And why is that? Well, you're probably wondering, using Diverge 3 times or 4 times, what's the difference? While I've already explained that you will be able to deal 20 damage consistently, Yarrow has 174 hit points. So you want to be able to deal the most consistent and highest amount of damage that you can without risking too much. Basically meaning that you have to spend many rounds getting diverges off constantly. Just getting 4 off instead of 8 or 10, you will actually be able to kill it faster, or so I believe at least. And also, given the luck I have with diverge and also hitting, I really didn't want to let it go any further than it really did. So we have almost dealt half the amount of damage, and now you will see Yarrow's damage range. It nearly kills me, and if it gets something like that off on the very first turn, you're pretty much screwed. Because even surviving that is nearly impossible. Now I got lucky here that he chose to scalp me instead of attacking me. But take a look at this. Seriously, what the fuck? But again, it goes to show you don't need perfect luck going into this. But still, far too many fuck-ups and it's all over. And if there's anything you don't want to miss with, it's dust, your diverge, and your attacks. Resume is pretty irrelevant, and we get a critical hit, dealing 52 points of damage. So it makes me think that the damage range is between 20 and 26. But yet again, I can't be too sure. Now I could choose to attack here, but I felt that would be too great a risk. So I decided to play it safe and just get it over with. Congratulations, you just defeated one of the hardest bosses. There's 2 more very difficult bosses to catch, but we'll see about that when it's time. There's one in particular that I hate, and it's against Zanarpa. He has some very annoying monsters, and he is extreme. But then there's also the final boss, Doomsday. He has even higher stats than Yarrow, if you can even believe that. So Sunki tells us that Musa wants to talk to us about legendary monsters, and we have to show up for that. See you with the next episode, take care, peace out.